In Thailand, the richest 20% makes almost 60% of the income, the highest in Southeast Asia. On the other hand, the poorest 20% makes only 4% of the income, also the lowest among the group. This staggering result signals how many lower to middle class Thai workers have much difficulty catching up with the group above them. Clearly, there's an inequality problem. Taking a further look at the problem, the regions outside of Bangkok earns the lowest amount, shown by the orange regions here. We correlate this with the following graph, which shows that the lowest quartile of income earners have the least ability to attend college. This clearly shows that lower income earners would lack the access to quality higher education, especially in poorer regions.
Why is this so? This table shows how tertiary education is expensive and unaffordable. On average, it costs about 20,000 to 30,000 a year. Remember, many people still make below a meager income of less than 30,000 baht a month. Many parents also face the pressure to enroll their children in supplementary education or private tutoring courses, so they are able to have a competitive advantage when applying to higher education. Supplementary education creates further financial strain on low-income individuals and makes it even more difficult for students without the educational enhancement to have a fair chance at higher education. Why is it important or worth working on? Let's look at the problems associated with this. Students without a degree may find challenges in getting a job and would be burdened by the consistently increasing cost of living. They may be faced the challenge of having to take on multiple jobs, underemployment, and may, worst case scenario, resort to crime and make ends meet.
Surveys have revealed in the low-income countries, adults who receive some 5 to 7 years of primary schooling were functionally illiterate and enumerate. In the long term, this effort does not necessarily encourage a healthy caste structure which can create a better economy, resulting in more financial funding for schools. This wasn't income equality problem stated at the beginning. Also, poor education levels have been linked to high vulnerability to diseases such as tuberculosis, hepatitis B, malaria, HIV, and AIDS. Roughly one-third of population of Southeast Asia live below the poverty line, and because of this economic disadvantage, many families rely on youth to work to compensate for the low amount of incomes. Therefore, education is not seen as an urgent obligation to fulfill.
So who specifically has this problem? The reality is many people. They are the ones you see every day on the street. Shop vendors and food sellers are people who make about 15,000 baht a month. On average, people in Thailand make 23,000 baht a month. This is not to mention that they currently have significant level of debt at about 30 to 50%. What this means is having leisure to spend on other necessities like food, clothing, and education. This forces families to prioritize their choices of what is important. Education is therefore a possible avenue where family could decide to save on. The following is a shocking statistic. 22% of children who do not make it to school state the main reason is due to lack of money. Till today, many people face this financial challenge. Realistically, the following options are to either first, take up loans to purchase higher education. Second, go on to technical college with the goal to start work soon. And three, or drop out of school as does.
Our group has done a field research within this area, and we wish to share with you our finding. This is Mo. She works in a phone accessory shop. She has 2 children, 10 and 3 years old. School fees for her 10 years old children is 3,000 per semester and 5,000 per semester for her younger son. To help her elder son get into a better school, she spends an additional 2,000 baht a month on a tuition. She makes only 20,000 baht a month. At this rate, it is certainly not easy for her to save for her children's further education. This is Noravit. He has 2 children. His elder son is 16 and the younger one is 14. The elder one goes to the private school. It costs 30,000 baht per semester. Fees for the younger one is 2,400 baht per semester. He makes 15,000 baht a month. Here, we can tell that school fees are a big burden on him.
Most ASEAN nations require free education for most primary schools, but not all countries adhere to this. This does not include higher education or supplementary education. Therefore, public funds may not be effectively directed towards grooming college graduates. There is also the issue of corruption in politics. Many governments may not possess the will to educate lower income sectors, fearing that an educated population will be better equipped to challenge the elite authority. Hence, governments may often choose to favor big ticket items that often come along with things like kickbacks. Many banks do not offer loans to students for fear of default, and also these students do not possess any collateral. Hence, many banks would attach higher interest rates associated with these loans. Some governments provide subsidies for loans, but there are still many students who don't have access to this.
Based on the discussion so far, we can conclude that it is very hard for one in the lower income bracket to break out of this cycle. For one, they may not make enough income currently, and two, they lack the access to support and resources from banks and the government. This is a big problem affecting many and will worsen the income equality situation. We hope to bring more awareness to this situation. At the same time, the situation would be better with more public funding towards university education in poorer regions, or increasing accessibility to funding sources, such as loans and scholarships. Possibly, if we can create a system that would redirect resources toward funding students' education,